Okay, good evening, everyone. I'd like to open the Southbridge Board of Health meeting, May 9th, 2024. It is now 6 p.m. May we have a roll call, please?
Roll Marshall.
Present.
Kevin Spillane.
Present.
Gus Steves.
Present.
Gil Provost.
Present.
Jasmine Quinones.
I have not heard anything. Anybody?
Okay.
All right, Agenda 3A. Vote to accept the meeting minutes of April 25, 2024.
Motion.
Second.
You have that? No questions, concerns?
Yes. Actually, I'd like to hold on to them because, and have them rewritten, because under items number 6 and number 8 are only the agenda item listed. There's no discussion on them. And as the legal documentation of our meeting, we need some, somebody needs to be able to read it to get a gist of what the discussion was. And there was some on both of those.
Which date?
25.
Yeah.
Well, Agenda 6 was no vote because that was a presentation.
I know, but it's not just the vote, it's the presentation. You need to have a gist of what the presentation was. There was some discussion. It's not, by law, it's not just the votes. You have to, somebody who's reading it needs to be able to get an idea of what the discussion was. That's what the law says.
All right, so I'll entertain a motion, if you wish, to table the minutes of the 25th till the next meeting.
For a minute, yes.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, any other discussion on that? No? We'll take a vote. All those in favor? Opposed? Okay, so we'll move that to the next meeting. B, vote to accept the special meeting minutes of May 1, 2024.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Splain. I'll second it then.
I have to stay, I wasn't happy.
Honestly, I don't think there's enough detail in this one either.
There's what?
I don't think there's enough detail in this one either. I mean, as I mentioned, I like the fact that you refer to the minutes of the video at the end of the minutes, but the video isn't the legal record anymore. So somebody picking up these minutes isn't going to have a general idea of what we were talking about. It's like not going to have an idea what snowbirds are, what we were referring to when I was talking to opt out. They would have to have all of the other records with them to understand that.
So you're gonna make a motion?
So I'm going to post some notes on this.
Second? Do we have a second on moving that?
Hey, Jasmine. I will second that one.
Jasmine is here. I'll come in and
I'm not trying to
sit
make you
side by
hard,
side with
but
you. We'll look at that. and-
These are public records.
Closer would be better.
All close.
All right, all those in favor of moving that minutes? He abstained, so we have 3 in favor, 1 abstained to move them till next month. All right, let me get rid of this. Let me get rid of this, okay. All right, we'll move to agenda number 4, Citizens Forum. Is there anybody from the audience that wants to address the board on any items that are not on today's agenda? Come on upward so we can hear you, and please give your name and address for the recording clip.
Thank you. My name is Christina Gola, and my address is 177 West Street. And I just wanted to know if there could be additional discussion of the new trash situation besides the items on agenda number 8, which are the snowbird opt-out and the senior discount. That can be discussed at that time, or should it be discussed now?
Did you want to address any of those particular items?
No, it wasn't. I'm not a snowbird and I'm not a senior, so I would not qualify under those
Okay.
two.
So what do you wish to address, is my question.
Yeah, so basically just a continuation of the items that I mentioned at the last meeting, which was the fact that there are persons like myself who don't use the trash services. We're not able to opt out because of computer and telephone issues, and now are in the position that they're not able to participate in the trash services due to the extreme cost.
The only thing that we have right now, and it's not us, the only thing that's in place right now is opting out. If there was issues with somebody who was not electronically savvy or things like that, that can be done by coming in the office and the ladies will help you. The problem, the challenge that we all have is that by law, the landlord has to show proof that they are having their trash properly disposed of. If you opt out and you contacted a private hauler, you can negotiate any way you want. If you have one bag a week, how much is it gonna cost me for the hauler to pick up once a month? There's options to that, but right now, and correct me if I'm wrong, our hands are tied because there is no other avenue in this process. You can opt out, show a contract, you're good to go, we'll pick up the toters and everything hunky-dory. And whatever you make for an arrangements with that contract, whoever you hired is your business. But as long as you have a contract and your trash is being taken care of and we have proof, we're happy.
Two questions on that. Number one, is there going to be any time frame where that situation will be discussed further? I know that your hands are tied now, but is there a future movement to discuss that? And number two, how much time will I be given to find my own trash hauler, given that this is the first I'm hearing that I will have to do this under this
Excuse me.
circumstance?
First of all, the opt-out times to not get a bill starting July 1 for the next quarter, you have to opt out by May 30th. So you have up to May 30th to secure a contract. And then you will be out of the town system. That being said, I cannot give you a time limit on when this will be discussed because I can't think of any other avenue right now. I mean, there has to be proof that the trash is being picked up properly. Because that's the law. Citizens form right now. Excuse me. You know, so I don't know if that would be up to the board for, if there was some method that comes up that we can have in writing to go through the process, public hearings and everything else, to adopt a regulation to handle that. And we have to take everything in consideration.
Right.
The citizens, the rest of the citizens, the work that is gonna put on the office, because the citizens are paying for other things that are going on. So there's a multitude of catches, stumbling blocks. But I know some people that have been in a similar thing like you, and you can make a contract with a hauler. They have no problem if you only need them to pick up once a month. They're good with that, and that's what you're gonna pay for. But the only thing the town needs is a copy of that contract, and then you can go through the opt-out procedure, and you'll be taken care of.
And again, that's something that an individual can come in to do at the office.
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
yeah. They will more than be ready and willing to help you. Because you have to come in and show a copy of the contract, and they'll make a copy and give you your original back, and then walk you through the process.
And the opt-out feature is available on the town's website now for those who have access to
Right.
a computer.
And you can also come in to do using computers here to do it, right?
We don't have those computers, but I can do that for them.
Anything else?
Nothing else?
Did I help you?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Is there any other citizens that want to bring anything up that's not on the agenda?
I'm not sure what's on the agenda. I didn't listen to last week's agenda. My name's Walter Pollock, I live on 375 Orange Street. If we do opt out, how do we return our trash units?
You don't.
Keep them?
When you opt out,
Yeah.
whether you go in person or online, the office will contact you. They will tell you, leave your containers out at the curb, cleaned and emptied, on such and such a date, and the town goes and picks them up. So that way, we make sure we don't have the overlap of when your contract takes place versus when your containers leave.
So would the contracts be like every 3 months? I'm a snowbird, and I'm going down to Florida. So would September be the next?
If you're gonna make a contract with a private, you're gonna have to deal with that. We have no clue how they set up their systems. That's something, if you opt out and you hire a private contractor,
Yeah.
that's something you're gonna have to ask them and make arrangements with them.
So private contractor, they have to be licensed?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Is there a list of, in the area that we could get a list of? Or?
I think the easiest thing is if you Google trash people and, you know, the 01550
Yeah,
area code, they'll give you a list.
okay. I guess that's it.
You're the one.
You gotta- Smart man, he's gotta check with the boss.
That's right.
You're always welcome to call the office if you have any additional questions.
Yeah.
Okay, I've heard rumors about trash police checking the recycle bins.
That is an incorrect rumor, and that is the epitome of the definition of rumor. We have trash monitors.
Okay,
These trash monitors, their job is to go out and look for violations. Violations of standards and regulations that have been in the existence for quite a while and not enforced. They are not gonna go out and their job, we used to have somebody that went through to help people recycle
Yeah.
if there was a problem. And that can be still done at your request, but that takes time and effort, and no, people going around and snooping in your buckets, that is false. Big time false.
if we had a private hauler, would that trash monitor person be able to look inside there to see if anything? Because we found out that there is a trash hauler that doesn't require you to recycle.
That's against the law.
That's against the law,
Really?
because every trash hauler has to offer recycling.
Okay.
That is also in the town regulations.
Yeah, it's mandatory.
It's mandatory.
All right, that's what I thought.
Yes, it is mandatory, okay? So if you've been in contact with a hauler and said, I don't have to recycle, you better have them contact the office because they're misinformed.
Okay.
As long as the condition of your containers, it's not overflowing, it's got the covers, stuff isn't blowing all over the place, there is no reason, if there's no violation, people aren't gonna go open the door and look under the hood if there's no violation. But if there's a violation of the regulations, because you've got 4 or 5 bags on the ground, even though you have a private one, that's what their job is. The bags on the ground, not what's in the container.
If we do opt out from the town for picking up trash, when it comes time for hazardous waste days, are you still allowed to go to hazardous waste?
If I am not mistaken, because we don't have the technology right now to show when you pull up with your driver's license, you opt in or opt out.
Okay.
Correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it's gonna be open to Southbridge residents. So you pull up, show us your driver's license, or whatever you have to show where you live. The only thing right now is that if you opt out, you will not have curbside leaf and yard waste picked up.
Okay. Would you be able to call for a bulk pickup
Bulk pickup is worked directly with Casella.
with Casella? So,
Directly with Casella, they're doing that in the town's behalf. The town's office does not deal with the bulk pickup.
okay.
I would think it would go through whoever their hauler is anyway.
But if you had a
If
private
they
hauler,
choose,
if
yes,
you,
if they
yeah,
choose.
if you choose, you can,
So does Casella still use a town dump or go somewhere else?
oh, that's been closed.
It's
been
That's
closed
been
for a
closed
while.
for
They just
Since
do the recycling part
2018.
there?
2018, it's been closed.
Oh, okay.
what has been used up there in the past, not the landfill, but the flat land before it, as he has his waste days.
Okay.
There's been a lot of misinformation floating around.
Yeah, that's why we came here, so.
And there's one item on our agenda later, a proposal for potentially putting solar up on the landfill.
What was that again?
There's a
Solar?
proposal to put solar up on the landfill,
Oh,
that the,
We're in citizens forum, Gus, let's wait for that, please.
that was answered, that kind of answers
You
your
know,
question.
that'd be
That's in the
interesting.
agenda.
yeah.
Okay, thank you.
We good?
Okay, I was gonna say this until you just said there's been a lot of misinformation. I spent hours on the phone with the DEP last year. Went before the council, they corrected me 3 times and said I was wrong. The landfill stopped accepting waste, like you said. But it wasn't closed by the state until last spring, when that was finally done. They'd never seen it done like that before. In the past, they'd get closed and then covered. But there was an opportunity last year. I didn't want them to get into trash. But I thought couches, not televisions, that's electronics, it's different. But I thought the town could save millions over the future because there's room for at least 100,000 tons of waste according to the Board of Health meeting the month before they closed. In fact, they spoke of hundreds of thousands of tons. So now all the information isn't getting from point A to point B unless Casella gave this information back then, which I don't think they did. They were always trade shooters when it came to information. You know, the problem some of us have with them is how they dispose, not how they pick things up, but where they dispose and how they dispose. And
Yeah, I'm not sure on that, and I don't know if it's the terminology they use. We stop taking waste, but it's not closed until it's capped.
that's precisely what it is. The nomenclature is ridiculous. Like,
So where we're sitting right now, unfortunately, it's out of service. Done.
well, I'm not saying it was like, all I'm saying is there are opportunities that may come up. Let's say someone makes a proposal. I found out some proposal that's later on the agenda today. I thought it might be some other kind of proposal. And there's a difference between getting a site assignment within 2 years of closure and getting a site assignment, let's say 4 years after closure, hundreds of thousands of dollars, so that's why.
No,
So
you're absolutely
yeah,
right.
out of courtesy, I wasn't correcting you in any way. It does come down- All right, it comes down to the nomenclature, the word. Like, you look at 100,000 tons of fluff and 100,000 tons of garbage, the average person isn't gonna be able to tell the difference. By with their eyes, you know, it's, fluff sounds like something harmless. But we got a couple 100,000 tons of those up there.
Not anymore, unfortunately, or fortunately, whichever way you look at it. Okay, is there anybody else who wants to speak in citizens forum on anything that is not on tonight's agenda? One more time? Going twice, going 3 times? Okay, we'll move on to, we have some business things here. Agenda 5A, vote to accept and sign the FY 2024 fourth quarter trash bill commitment in the amount of $683,445.
So moved.
Second.
Got that?
Yep.
Okay, any questions? Okay, all those in favor? No opposed? Unanimous of all present. 5B, vote to accept and sign the FY 2024 fourth quarter trash bill commitment in the additional amount of $690.
Motion. Second.
Have a motion by Mr. Swain, second by Gus, and no questions.
I do have a quick question. Why do we have a tiny one? Is this for the town?
This is the way they were presented from the
I'm assuming the big one is for the town as a whole. Is the small one for the town facilities themselves?
this is the way that it was presented to us from the collector, right?
Finance.
The finance director,
Finance director.
because, so I can't answer that question.
This is
Dan,
another.
and Dan, I know Dan's sick, you know?
I don't know.
Negative.
Yeah. I realize we have to pay the bill. I mean,
We have to pay the bill.
Usually do.
Any other questions? Seeing none, all in favor? Any opposed?
You gonna raise your hand?
Yes. Sorry, I was talking to Patty about,
Tell Patty to just take the notes.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Okay, all in favor? Voted unanimously. C, 5C, vote to accept and sign an FY 2024 fourth quarter trash adjustment commitment in the amount of $230.
So moved.
Second. What does this mean?
That same thing, financial.
This is all the financial thing
I get
from when
that.
it started. And then you will see on the others that this is eliminated at the next motion.
I know, I see that, so why are
But
we
when,
doing this?
because it's accountability, like you said, of the minutes,
Yeah,
when they send out a bill, if the bill was incorrect or if you just can't erase it,
Yeah.
there's a number. So there has to be a process where a negative factor is put in there to address that bill.
okay.
All
So-
about accountability. Those days of just saying rip it up, like your last speeding ticket, doesn't count.
Damn it.
So that's what these things are.
Okay.
Any other questions on C? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? No opposed, unanimous, all present. Continue with the business. 5D, vote to accept and sign FY 2024 fourth quarter trash adjustment commitment in the amount of negative $230.
So moved.
You got the motion, first and second. Okay, any questions?
Mr. Chairman, through you,
Council?
why is this negative? Why you added it and now you took
This is all the way it was presented to us, checks and balances from the finance director. So if there was some incorrect billing or something, if somebody had opted out and they were given a bill when they shouldn't have, that bill was posted. That's a bill number. They have to have another adjustment number to cancel this bill, and that's why we're doing this legally the way she wanted.
Could I ask a question? Could I ask if this gentleman be allowed to speak to something he didn't realize Citizens Forum, and I think it has something to do with this. If you don't mind, with permission.
Okay, let me finish. If the board accepts that, we'll make a motion after. I have 3 more of this business items to take care of, and then we can take care of the finance director and, okay?
All right. Thank you.
So D, any other questions on that one? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed?
Jasmine?
You with us?
I'm trying to pull up this, agenda so I can follow these numbers,
Oh,
but they're making me out.
Do you have a copy now?
Yeah.
oh, okay. So 5E, vote to accept and sign the FY 2024 fourth quarter trash adjustment commitment in the amount of negative $15,180.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second.
I
Any
assume
discussion?
I assume those must be all, the whole collective of opt-outs.
Jesus.
Yeah.
This is the, or whatever other issues
Yeah,
to take it off the cost.
right, okay,
Credits versus debits, if you will.
right.
Any other questions on that one? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed, seeing no opposed, unanimous. Okay, we'll move on to 5F, the last one. Vote to accept and sign the FY 2024 fourth quarter trash adjustment commitment in the amount of negative $115.
Motion. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Any opposed? No. Unanimous, all present. Make a motion to,
Motion on suspend
To suspend the rules and
the
allow
rules
them
to
to
let
speak.
that gentleman
Second.
speak.
okay, all in favor? Okay, you got that, Patty? Let's see if we can answer your question.
Yes, I received a bill, okay? Received a notice.
Can we, before we get that, for the recording clerk, your name and address?
Paul Woodard, 19 Brick Road, Southbridge, Mass.
Okay, thank you.
I received a bill for my trash. They, or basically, right after the first meeting that you had on this, we got a notice. I came to the first meeting that you had, that we got the notice in the mail at 6 o'clock when I got home. So I showed up, I was told to probably be there. I showed up, and they said to get a letter to opt out. So now I receive a bill for $230. I haven't used the trash services in 7 years. I have a letter here to opt out, and from my employer that says that I have the permission to use their trash facilities. We have 14 dumpsters at work, where I work. I've been there for 7 years, I brought my trash. I don't even have a bin for trash or anything else. And then they tell me that I'm still responsible for this previous bill that I had no idea that I was even gonna receive until I got the notice in the mail, and then I came to the meeting. And I said I wanted to opt out of it at that time, and it doesn't seem right. I live by myself. I generate maybe 24 bags of trash a year. It's $38 a bag?
No, it's $38 a month.
No,
No, quarter.
no, $38 a
Oh,
bag.
right, sorry.
$38 a month.
Yeah, that's a lot of money for.
Oh, if you have
for
one bag a
trash.
month.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
but no, if I have 24, if I have 2 bags a month, which is generally, I don't have a full bag. I just, in summertime, I take it out because, you don't want flies in your house and stuff like that. But it's like, what can I do? And I shouldn't have to opt out every quarter on this.
No, no,
That's
no.
that's what I was told. I have to opt out every quarter.
That's
That's just too much work.
you're right. That would,
I
if that
work
was true,
work every day, it's hard.
if that's incorrect.
Okay.
Okay, and that's the problem that we're dealing with, is a lot of this incorrect information out there. Because if the citizens had to opt out every quarter, the office people have too much to do for no reason, okay? Which meeting, do you
I
remember?
went to the first meeting a few weeks ago when they said that, when I got home. from
Okay,
work,
so that was-
there was a meeting on the trash. And
That was before we were on, but that's
and
before a couple of us
I
were on.
received a notice from Casella that night. The first I
So that's
heard
March
about it,
28th meeting.
or I heard a
No, 20.
little shuttle about it, and they said there was a meeting, so I showed up for the meeting.
I was here on the, oh, you're right. Thank you.
You can opt out,
Yep.
you've got a letter,
Yeah, they have it on file in the office. I brought it in, said, you're opt out for this quarter, which doesn't make any sense to me. I shouldn't have to come every quarter to make sure I don't get a bill like this.
no, you don't. When you opt out,
Okay.
when somebody opts out, they show proof that they have somebody that's going to take care of their trash.
Yeah,
Whether you have that type of letter,
yeah,
because it's legal for you to take your own trash.
yeah.
You need to be licensed if you're gonna
This
pay.
previous bill that said that, they said I was still responsible for.
I'm sorry.
I-
There is still, correct me if I'm wrong, Madam Agent, there is still no abatements in the town of Southbridge. That's our dilemma. The town of Southbridge does not have abatements for bills
Yeah.
on the trash.
This isn't gonna get paid. I haven't used your services.
We understand what you're saying, but our hands are, we're handcuffed. Because the abatement, any abatement process goes past this board. That's a town billing issue.
So how do I get this straightened up? Without jumping through 18 hoops. Shouldn't be that hard.
No, I should.
I'm not sure if it's the town manager's office. Does any of you councilors have a clue?
I would go down to the health department. They told me.
For me to come in during
I mean,
business hours, I gotta
If
pay.
you went to the health department, when did you go with that contract?
Maybe last Friday?
Okay, well, here's the problem with that. By the regulations,
I don't know the regulations. I just found out that we were getting a bill.
Right.
Example,
That's true.
this present bill runs from April 1st to the last day of June. That's the quarter. When July 1 comes, it's the next quarter, July, August, September.
So this isn't even for a full quarter?
Yeah, that is,
Oh, okay,
because it should say right here what the dates they're for.
okay.
Someone has to opt out. If you wanted to get out before the next bill, you have to opt out before the 30th of May. That gives time for the town to process all the stuff, all the information, make contact with the citizen, reclaim the containers that they have,
I don't have-
and make sure that this proper information gets through the departments in the town so you don't get a bill starting July 1. But these bills took effect of April 1st.
I
and-
just received it.
We've
We
had,
always do that.
we've had discussion here and there, offline, everything else, and right now, there is no abatement process in the town of Southbridge for trash. That's what we've been told.
How do you get
Right, wrong, or indifferent, that's beyond us, that's out of our control.
How does one get one?
So it's gonna
The only thing I can say, because the only one to give the permission to do different things, because you're not gonna get the tax collector to do it on their own,
Right.
is I would go upstairs, town manager's office, that's the pin of the
So that's-
pyramid.
Like to directly just, boom,
Is
just
there,
go
is
there.
there an evening when I can do that, or do I have to take?
He's
time
open,
from work?
we're open Thursdays,
He should
he's
be up-
probably
should be
upstairs
up.
still.
He's probably still upstairs.
Or email, right?
Unless he's in the meeting.
You could email him,
Yeah. Maybe like
or
email.
anytime, what you can do, to be sure, you could try now, but if you
Yeah.
call, talk to his executive assistant,
Right.
and make an appointment,
Yeah,
then you're
right.
gonna be guaranteed.
Right.
Right.
I'll go up and see if I can see it. This second floor?
Yep, upstairs.
Yeah, you can go right up to the front hall and go upstairs,
Okay,
and
all right, thank
I have
you.
a quick question.
Good luck.
Are those recommendations that like anybody can make to like anybody in the public when they ask that question? Like, oh, just go directly to the town manager's office? Like,
well, the
it's
thing
out of
is
our
with
hands?
this is I've had a conversation and things like that, and, right now, for whatever reason that we're handcuffed with, there is no abatement. If somebody got a bill, you gotta pay it.
Yeah.
That's the answer that I got, right, wrong, or indifferent.
And there's like, whether, there's no payment plan, there's no like,
That's something that someone, a payment plan or anything, just like if you had an ambulance bill,
Yeah.
this goes on since Florence was here.
Yeah.
You can go make an arrangements with the town manager, payment plans or however you wanna do, but that's the individual that can make
they
those
can make those
arrangements.
calls. Gotcha. Because I think people think it's us and we get stuff at the
Exactly, yeah.
grocery stores.
There's a
Oh,
lot
yeah,
of-
I don't know
Been
what's
there,
going
done
on,
that.
but, yeah, so.
Way beyond our pay scale, and it doesn't take much. Cause we don't get paid.
And the irony of that is that when we were having that discussion over abatement with Jack and Dean, the various other financial people, that was one of the things that they were trying to encourage is having us handle the abatements.
Well,
I
that
don't
was
know. And
obviously,
that's an issue, I don't know if we,
but here's the thing, Gus,
I don't think
obviously
we do
that was a
that.
private meeting,
yeah.
because it was not a meeting involving the board.
It was
So
actually,
at that
it was-
point-
Yeah, it was before you guys were appointed.
Yeah, so
I
it
mean-
wasn't an open meeting involving the board,
No, it
so
wasn't. It wasn't.
whether we do that in the future, if they want to,
Yeah,
We'll
That might be
cross that
something
bridge.
different.
right, I agree.
yeah, they'll have to cross that different. Okay. Something quick, please?
Well, yeah, prior to the arrangement where we had an outside company managing the list, I'm not being great, I'm just saying, you guys were not burdened with collecting money. When the town.
We
went
still
to do-
aren't.
Well, you still
we-
aren't, but,
No, we're not.
no, I'm not disagreeing with you, what I'm saying is, the business, like, for example, you're approving those expenses tonight.
Yeah.
Wasn't something you even had to deal with.
Because they reflect the regulation.
Well, perhaps the regulation was changed from the old way to a new way for the landfill when it was a.
Oh, boy.
No, it has nothing to do with the landfill. Nothing whatsoever to do with the landfill. This is only when the regulations, we're adopting a fee for quarterly.
You guys didn't even have a department, but it's not because you guys didn't have much of a department and you didn't have a health director. You had,
But
so
that's,
you put this whole infrastructure in. I've got the videotapes. Okay, I've got 14 years of videotapes. They had, you guys weren't supposed to have to like even vote on that. The town voted on whether or not there would be a landfill. They voted on the money. You guys voted on whether or not it would be allowed.
but Mr. Pulowski, this has nothing to do with the landfill. The landfill is dead, gone, buried.
I'm saying at that time, we were told what was gonna
But-
happen after the landfill agreement.
All
Not
that
happening.
was speculation, and until the ink goes on to the paper, all it is speculation and rumor. And the rumors have continued almost out of control with false information up till today.
Well, I got my rumor
Point
from
of
this
order.
meeting.
Can we get
Word
back to
else,
the
I
subject,
can share the
Okay.
video.
please?
Yep, hold
This
on.
wasn't gonna happen.
All right, I had a point of order. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. We have to keep with the agenda.
What's the point of order?
He wants it,
I
he
wanna
said the
get
point
back
of
to
order is to get back to the
The
agenda.
agenda, please.
Okay. All right, let's keep to the agenda. We have a lot of business tonight. So we took care of that. Agenda number 6. Discuss participation in the housing production plan presented by Katie Yoder of CDDG Coordinator.
So moved.
I don't believe we need it for discussion,
Oh, we don't?
because it's a presentation and there's no call for a vote.
Yeah, I'm Katie Yoder. I'm the Community Development Block Grant Coordinator in the Economic Development and Planning Office. I believe Patty might have shared with you,
Yep.
if anyone wants a paper copy, I can provide. But I'm just here to provide a little information about the ongoing housing production plan process and invite anyone interested to participate in the working group associated with that. So a housing production plan is a sort of a mechanism for the town to be able to assess current housing stock, challenges, demographic changes affecting housing. So we have a consultant, Central Massachusetts Regional Planning Commission, that will be doing the technical work of gathering information, creating the plan, doing community engagement and outreach related to the plan. And a larger purpose of this plan, once it's completed, is that it gives the town a way to respond to certain types of housing developments. So there's what's called Chapter 40B, and that allows certain developers, if they are coming into town and a certain percentage of their housing development includes affordable housing, they can bypass certain permitting zoning requirements. And so if Southbridge has a plan like this in place, they're meeting their affordable housing goals, they are able to stop these developments if they aren't in the interest of the town. So that is an overview. If you have any questions, if you're interested in participating, or just you want to be updated as stuff is happening, yeah, feel free to ask anything.
Do I have any brief questions from the board?
I just have an observation. I'm actually part of that group at the moment. The first meeting was, I thought it was quite productive. It was primarily me, and it was me and Pam Paquin and Katie and Peg and Dave Pear from the planning board and Maureen from the Conservation Commission. And I think there might be one other person there, well, maybe not. And the person from TMRPC, of course. And so there was a lot of questions thrown around at that first meeting. There's already a set out timeline that of doing this process over the next year or so, of creating this plan, doing public hearings, a lot of public outreach. We're gonna need a lot of help to get some of the data that the CMRPC may need. It's gonna be especially important to communicate with the public on this one. Honestly, we're especially gonna probably need somebody that speaks good Spanish, because we need translation for documents and outreach and interviews of people in the Spanish community, so that would be helpful. And I know my Spanish is start old. And so those are the kinds of things that the group is especially in need of.
When's the next meeting?
I believe it is Monday, May 20th.
Yep.
Um,
At 2.
Here?
And those are
No, it's online.
posted as well.
you can come.
It's a Zoom meeting.
Yeah, they probably
Oh.
won't be posted. It's more of an informal. It's not a board or committee, but when they are happening, I will be having them opened up in our office. So if you want to come in person, if you want to share your email too, I can forward the link.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Okay, now I think your boss wants to say something.
Okay.
We only encourage you to just talk among yourselves if you're going to participate. We just want you to avoid a quorum.
Right. No, that makes sense.
If nobody else, what I would be interested, or I think the board would be interested, is when you gather the information on the units and stuff like this, if we can be kept informed, because we have the blight bylaw and some of these other issues that maybe we can help together, because personally, I'd still like to see a building renovated and put back on the tax than to be torn down.
Sure.
So, keeping us informed of what's out there, and vacants, dangerous vacants, these are very well hidden. And being a firefighter for 30 years, this should be something that the town emergency responses knows what they're getting into and target issues until they're reclaimed.
Sure.
So I think keeping us in the loop, we appreciate it,
Yeah.
Mr.
and I
Chairman,
think we can work together.
Would you like to suggest, if I could suggest, would the board like to sort of vote to make me an official board representative to this committee? Or
If you're
maybe
gonna do
me
it,
and
I don't
somebody
think we have
else?
to make it,
Okay.
because you're doing it already, and we didn't make it in the first place.
Well, I was,
How's that?
All right.
well, I kind of joined voluntarily, so, yeah.
As long as we can have that, you can use him as a funnel,
Okay. I'll
you
be
know,
glad to bring some back.
he's got all our contact information if you wanna shoot in emails, so that we have it from one common voice.
No problem.
Great.
And that's what's good, to get the facts instead of, one common, nothing negative.
No, I get it, I know I get that, I get it.
And among Katie's credentials, she speaks Spanish.
Perfect.
That's good to know. I didn't know that.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Great.
Okay. Now I have agenda 7, discuss potential RFP to lease the landfill. And I wish this was worded differently. But
Yes, we are very close to violating the open meeting law with how that's written. We're very close.
it was so vague, because there's a lot of talk out there that they're opening the landfill again.
So when you, typically, if you're gonna talk about real estate, you go into an executive session. So I would not wanna talk very specifically, because I wouldn't want to be breaking, an opportunity for the town to be discussing this behind closed doors. This is just an initial, for your information. So real estate is within the town manager's responsibilities. And so one of the suggestions a few years ago from a local developer was to potentially bring a landfill solar array to the town, or put a solar array on the landfill. And so we had, at the time, Anna Smith, who was the landfill monitor, involved in these conversations. The developer was just trying to get a sense from the town, if you were to ever consider it, is this a viable potential project? We told them they're welcome to do their homework if they'd like. So they approached the DEP through a pre-application process, and were approved should they want to go forward, but they'd obviously need to secure a lease with us. They went through the FAA to make sure that a solar array wouldn't affect the visual for flyover, and they were approved by the FAA. They asked us about our power use at the airport and at the wastewater treatment plant, and said that they'd love to be able to help us offset our power from that. I also mentioned that the blue building, we've had, from an economic development perspective, I've struggled to get a tenant into the Casella Blue Building because there's not enough power there. So we had, for instance, a glass company called Aero Aggregates that was gonna be upcycling glass for road aggregate. And they couldn't get enough power for the project. And so they had to pass this up. That would have been a huge win for the town. And so one of the things that I personally would want to see is if, you know, they're providing power to different places, could they also provide it to the Blue Building? Ultimately, what would happen is, you know, if we decided to go forward, we would write an RFP in such a way that it would be the most benefit to the town, the most, you know, what's the best for the town, power and money, right? So we obviously want to be increasing our tax base wherever we can. That's bringing in commercial, that's, you know, putting properties back on the tax rolls, however we can to decrease everyone's taxes, right? What are other money makers, right? Solar arrays. Solar arrays have not had a great reputation in town because there have been erosion issues and other problems that they've caused in open spaces. Well, on the landfill, it seems like it might be a better fit because this is otherwise obsolete. They're done, they're being done throughout the country on landfills, so there must be a way to do it. I know Gus had very technical questions about how can you ensure the safety, how can you ensure the monitoring, how can you ensure all the things. These would have to be written into, you know, an agreement where, you know, if we're leasing it to whomever, you know, they obviously have to take full responsibility for the maintenance and upkeep and all that stuff. But we're going out for a grant called Real Estate Technical Assistance through Mass Development to ask them to help us through this process, because we're not real estate experts in this way, or we're not expert in how to write an RFP in such a way to make the language tight enough to protect us. So, you know, we'd be looking for, you know, rather than getting a whole bunch of legal bills from legal counsel, can we do it through this grant, get the help through them? So this was just an opportunity to bring it to you, kind of find out, you know, what your opinions are, you know, whether you think it's the right direction for the town.
Anybody on the board?
I have a rather technical question. Do we know that the landfill liner and capping has settled enough to be able to do this now? I remember back in the years ago, they were talking it would take, I want to say it was 5 years to 10 years to settle before you could do anything with it.
So I would defer to DEP. Right, if they can get DEP, whomever it proposes this, if they can get DEP approval, DEP is ultimately the one who is in charge of what can and can't happen on that landfill.
Yeah.
To a point.
To a point, exactly. I'm also.
And I'll defer and I'll go last because I have some big concerns.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll explain so you can put it in your notes.
Yeah.
You had something? Are
Yeah.
you done, Gus?
Oh, I was also somewhat concerned about the, when they're putting this stuff up there, I know it's been done in various landfills, we need to make sure that if this happens, they don't penetrate the landfill itself and make leaking or leaching or whatever even worse than it now is. I'd also be concerned about how we ensure that when the facility gets properly decommissioned, and that we have funding to do that in case the purveyor walks away, because that has happened on several occasions. Not necessarily here yet, fortunately. And I've already asked you several questions already about this. So I think that's all I have at the moment.
Anybody else?
I just wanted to say, I have a lot of questions myself, obviously, you cannot answer them, but I'm not in favor of this at all. I don't think that would be good for the town, me personally, doing that up there. Thank you.
You have anything?
No, I think, I'd like more
Okay,
information.
before we open it to the public, I used to be previously on the board, I was on the landfill oversight committee. We did a lot of touring and a lot of education when they were capping it.
Yep.
There are two separate, distinct capping mechanisms that are up there. I know they make a system that I still question to put on a 60-degree grade. They make a system that can go on a flat roof in the cities that won't penetrate by weight. There was a height restriction, and I don't know where the landfill was at in relation to the restriction. That's one concern. Reflector or anything with FAA.
Right.
My big concern as a citizen, are we gonna do all this work, risk-benefit scenarios, and who's gonna get the power? Are we gonna, is that power gonna, how long is it gonna last?
Yep.
So for 20 years, we're gonna have this on our landfill to power Metro Boston, and then when they go, who's gonna take care of it?
That's a question I asked her too.
The other issue is right now, not touching it. Casella is responsible for what, another 29 years or whatever it is, to monitor it, monitor the wells, watch out for where anything is infiltrating. The cap is put in place to stop rainwater from coming in to reduce the leachate. I am terrified to think that anything would go on that to let them shirk their responsibilities
Yep.
should something happen.
Yeah.
What happened to us with the contamination in Charlton?
Yep.
We had to foot half the bill.
Yep.
We weren't operating the landfill, but we had to foot half the bill. And as a citizen, and I, please, if you don't agree with me, throw something at me. That's our job, is to watch for the health and safety of not only our citizens, but our neighbors.
Right. Absolutely.
And right now, on the short time that it's been closed, because I think it's still working, there is, from what I learned, there is a certain amount, like a small pickup truck that can go on the artificial cap. The top is not artificial, the original cell is not artificial. Somebody would have to do some serious selling to get me to be on the positive side. Because I am worried about the next 29 years,
Yep.
because they're gonna look for any out.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Somebody's gonna have to do their homework and prove it to us. I know they do it on landfills, but what type?
Right.
And what if we get another tornado?
Mm-hmm.
It picks up solar panels and punctures all over the place? Who's responsible then? We can't afford it. And we would be the fall guy because we leased it. So that's what I'm terrified at right now. Just my thoughts. But you said there was more work they had to do, so we gave you some more items. Nothing else? Anybody else?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, through you. Just a couple of things. You touched on most of the things that I was thinking about as well.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
But first of all, solar panels, the money from solar panels, nobody has shown proof to me yet that we are actually getting good funding from these solar panels.
Right.
Just like the marijuana business that was supposed to bring all kinds of funds to town, and it never really happened. And I think when I look at some of the money we're supposed to be getting from the solar panels, well, maybe we are, but nobody has shown me any of the proof yet that we are getting good income from those solar panels. And you're right, who's it gonna benefit? It's the whole town gonna be in on this, or is it just gonna be a couple of businesses? But the other area that you touched on, it's a big risk to put those up there, because of everything you mentioned,
Absolutely.
poking holes in it, they're responsible. Are they gonna try and say, well, we're not responsible anymore?
We know
All
that,
those
yeah.
things, and I think, why take the risk? It's just not worth it. So, that's all.
And one other point to bring to the developer. This is already happening in this town because solar fields that we have now, the grid can't take the power they're making.
Okay.
So in my job, my part-time job working in hazardous material at the fire academy, they're looking to put in these containers to hold batteries.
Yep.
From the studies that I've done, if like anything else, if they work good, life is good. When they burn,
Oh, boy.
You can't put them.
they go into thermal runaway. The toxins that come off of that
Oh, my.
is terrible.
Oh,
There's some major risks to that.
mm-hmm.
And where are these solar panels? Family neighborhoods.
Yeah.
One question I would want to know, would they be wishing to put a caveat of a battery bank in association with the solar panels?
What would that do to the landfill gas, which is explosive?
Yeah, but that's more controlled. And they would have to be away.
You would hope so.
So these are some thoughts on what the overall plans are.
So just quickly to respond to Councilor Marquetti, So we wouldn't be looking at the benefit of the solar panels to, we're looking at the benefit of the lease. So really, it's for a developer to come to us and say, this is the value of the lease, and it's for the town to decide, is it worth that, you know? And we can walk away. With all these contracts, you know, you can write them in such a way that if it's not favorable to the town for any reason, you can walk away. And then with regards to the power itself, so that was one of our first questions, is as far as we're aware, National Grid's not updating their substations,
Bingo.
which is putting a halt on the
Right.
solar projects. However, what they're potentially looking at are ideas like microgrids. And then, when you're thinking about who could it benefit, if it only benefited our wastewater treatment plant or the airport, although those are enterprises, you know, if their costs are going down, is that a net benefit to all of the taxpayers? So, you know, there might be ways in which the power, you know, may not be to our residents, but maybe it benefits the town somehow. But, you know, with regards to whether or not the town chooses to go forward, it would obviously only be if you were comfortable with all of those terms and the risks, et cetera. By all means, you know, we would want to protect the town's health and safety first and foremost. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, again, I'm looking at opportunities from an economic development planning perspective, right? Your role as a Vantage from the Board of Health is to look for the health and safety, right? And so, you know, we bring ideas to the table, and you know, we hope that we land through discussion and deliberation at the best decisions for the town overall.
Absolutely.
Right, well, we need that, yeah, so.
Okay.
So how would you like me to proceed? Would you like me to just keep you informed? Would you like me to share your comments with the town manager? Would you like me to?
Feel free, I mean, it's a public hearing, you can feel free to share the comments. He can watch the tape, whatever, he knows how to get a hold of us. Keep us informed, for sure. And as soon as you know something,
Right.
do me a favor, as soon as you know something, even if it's bits, you can let Patty or Maritza know, and they can feed us things so that we're kept up on it, so that we
Yes,
definitely, because one thing that irks me, we're getting information the day before the meeting.
Yes,
Sure.
totally.
So that does not work.
Sure,
So yeah, keep us informed.
will do.
If I can add, also, do you have a time frame for this?
So the developer that got the pre-approval is coming up on they've been approved now for about a year. We obviously are not moving very fast because we don't have a huge appetite for taking on risk. It's been one of these things that, you know what, we've had so many other things on our plates. It's been, you know, we've been understaffed, all these things. And so they came to us recently and said, you know, the clock is ticking. Is there, you know, an interest from the town? And I said that I would pursue this. We're going to pursue this grant, so we're still not moving very fast, and we kind of put them off. So they may have to reapply. But again, we are not beholden to anyone, so it's not our concern
And I would be
necessarily.
very interested in, I'm not gonna speak for the board, but I would be very interested in to see what DEP's report and the FAA's report
Oh,
with their verbiage.
Sure, and I wonder if I can get copies. I think I had asked for a copy of the DEP pre-application. I don't know if I'd ever received it. So yes. if
Because I
I
think
can get
those
a
are
hold of
gonna
it,
be
I'll
very
share it.
critical pieces
Sure.
of the decision making.
Sure, sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, happily. And so I'm in no rush to answer the question with the timeline, because first and foremost, I want everyone to be very comfortable and want this. I don't want anything to be pushed or forced or feel, you know, like
Right.
there's any urgency.
Have you already brought this up to town council and or conservation?
I
They would
haven't-
have to go through
I
something like
haven't
that,
brought it
too.
up. You're the first board that I've come to.
Okay,
There's a lot more information we're gonna need
absolutely.
to make a decision, for sure. Right now, we don't have it.
Right.
It's sad that the company did this preliminary work due to I mean, it's good that they did that. The proximity of the landfill, the proximity of the airport. But we do have that industrial park property up that way. There's a possibility, I don't know how many acres, how many megawatts, but right next to it, the area that's already clear of trees, there might be an opportunity for them to place them right next door.
There's already solar up there. We have solar up in there.
There's a whole solar field on Mass
There's
Ave,
one
and I think
existing.
some of that flat area is still the airport property for expansion, because a long time ago, they talked about another runway. And then we have the issues about too close to the airport.
Right, there's two solar.
play
fields
with.
now.
But there's two solar fields up there now, right? One adjacent to the airport and one a little bit further down on,
Yep,
And those are on the industrial parkland?
one of them is, yeah.
one of them is. And I'm not sure if the town leased it or the company bought that property.
I think the town leased it, I think it's
So,
our lease.
but it's on that town,
Okay, I just
yeah.
thought, since they did the paperwork and they're interested, and the trees are gone already, but, yeah.
I mean, I gotta
Yeah,
admit.
these were on open areas as far as I know.
One thing I do think is something I mentioned is to Peg, and it's kind of a red flag to me, is that some private enterprise is looking at, took a look at an idea and said, wait a minute, let's see, maybe I could put solar on somebody else's property. Because it's our property, it wasn't their property.
That's,
And I thought that was just an interesting concept. I don't know how that's even legal, but.
anything else? Nothing? Thank you, Pat.
You're welcome, thank you for letting me present.
Keep us in the loop.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to, let me see, that's this one.
Right.
Agenda 8A. Terminology used here was snowbird opt-out option. There was some verbiage put together on this. I sent that out to everybody. Did you get it? Everybody have a chance to look at it? Yes, and I sent it to both your emails.
I got it, I did see it, I did read it.
Okay, because one of the things that we have to do, we're gonna take a vote tonight whether we adopt this or not. And we must make sure that we get the verbiage correctly, so we don't have to go backwards. Because to move on in a 2-week notice for a public hearing, to adopt these specific items, it has to be, the verbiage has to be 100% correct.
I agree, yeah.
So, for the general public, in the record, I'll read this for what we put together. Temporary vacancies, this is what we're calling it. We have not assigned a number to the regulation. If it happens to get adopted, we'll plug it in.
Mm-hmm.
But the title, temporary vacancies. An owner who wishes to take the unit they reside in out of the system for 1 quarter or more with a maximum of 2 quarters, example snowbirds, must do so in writing to the health department 30 days prior to the quarterly billing cycle. Such requests must include proof of residence, ownership, such as current utility bill, water bill, driver's license, etc. Requests need to be received by the 30th of each month prior to the billing cycle, which will be February, May, August, and November. Unless that follows on a weekend, then we require it to be on a Friday before it will be included in the following billing cycle. When approved, totes shall be left at the curb in a neat, clean condition for collection by the town. Owners shall notify the health department of their return date at least 1 week in advance. Totes will then be delivered to the address and a $25 redelivery charge shall be assessed. This regulation, temporary vacancy, cannot be combined with senior discount regulations, should that one be adopted. Do we have any? First of all, make a motion to,
Motion.
I messed that
Second.
up.
Second.
Motion and second to
Yep.
entertain 8A, which is what I just read. Do we have any comments, discussions on what the intent is here?
No.
No, I understand the intent. One question I have is, two things actually. One is the phrasing, because received by the 30th of each month, the way that it's phrased, I think what we're trying to say is the 30th of the month before the end of a quarter.
That's why we have, that's why we have the months in writing. It has to be, you want to opt out the next cycle,
Yeah.
it's the 30th of May.
Yeah.
So that's why the months are in there.
Just phrase it.
Anything else?
And the other point I have is actually to reiterate something we had brought up at the last discussion, is that, and I'm thinking about this more and have talked to a couple people about it, is if we start with snowbirds, where does it end? With,
That is a good discussion,
people in
and that is going
hospitals,
to,
rehab,
Yeah, it can go on and on.
and I'm not, it can go on and on.
Yeah.
It's like an audience member said at the last meeting, the more loopholes you put in, the more loopholes that we're gonna have to chase.
Yeah.
We were asked to put this on. I am by no means giving this out. saying that I am for this.
Mm.
I am doing my duty by putting this on the table
Yeah.
for the board,
Right,
okay? I have my vote like you people.
right.
I have my concerns like everybody else, okay? But it was brought up about, I'm out of town for 4 months, 5 months,
Right.
Mhm.
okay? I have my concerns about that, so we put something together to bring out. It's at the board. We vote it yes, we vote it no. It gets yes, we'll have to reschedule a public hearing. So it can become a regulation, if it gets voted no, it's dead, gone by.
So basically, at this point, you want us to determine whether we want to send this to public hearing or not.
If we have to vote on this, do we want this to be applied to our regulation?
Well, we'd have to do a public hearing,
That's the process.
Yes.
If you don't want to entertain this being part of our regulations, in another option into the solid waste regulations, then you vote no.
Now, can these be modified in a case-to-case scenario? Like, if, like we're using that verbiage, I get it, but is like, you know, if things happen, right, and people are out for extended amount of time, whatever, repairs, remodeling, whatever, can they bring that here or, you know, to wherever, and then be able to get the same type of...
If somebody wants to opt out, and that's why the verbiage was in here, the work that has to be done by the office, some people want it, you're gonna opt out, you're gonna opt in.
Right.
Done.
Of course, yeah.
Okay? If somebody's out of town, out of state, not residing in their house,
Of course.
is what was brought to us.
Right.
So, with the parameters, because this is work that the office has to do to process this, which falls on all the other taxpayers.
Right.
If somebody is moving out with a building permit, I think that's totally something totally different, because that the property, if you go to Florida, for example, or North Carolina, for the winter,
Mhm.
the house is livable.
Yeah.
Nobody takes their water and shuts the water and electricity off. So when your friend calls you up and says, yeah, you're gone, so you're not making trash, but somebody calls up and said, I had a water break and I gotta move out of my house, can I live in yours?
Yeah.
Now it's occupied, now it doesn't have trash pickup,
Right.
and these are the type of things that we have to keep control of.
Right, that's an issue.
Now, if people aren't gonna be like I told a young lady was here, I'm not gonna speak for private haulers,
Of course.
Mhm.
but you can make a deal any way you want with a private hauler.
Mhm.
We can't make such deals that they can, because we're responsible for all the citizens and all the taxpayers.
Right,
Of course.
right.
That's our speed bump.
That's true. That's a good way to describe it.
Unfortunately, if one gets away with it, everybody's gonna want to. You can't do one and not the rest.
Well, it's gonna be like
Policing,
though.
it will be
Yeah.
the challenge.
Yeah. It's gonna be. It's got so many layers. People are gonna say, okay,
Yeah.
well.
But as far as any regulation,
Right.
something new comes up, new technology, new anything, we can always go through the process and adjust any regulation.
Okay. Perfect.
It's not etched in stone, done, don't talk about it anymore, no.
Okay.
Do we have any questions or comments?
Could you explain the term you use, senior discount?
We're not on that one yet.
You know what?
We're not on that one yet, that's the
Oh.
next
I
agenda.
thought I heard you say that.
This agenda item, you cannot add on top of another discount.
Yeah.
That's what I said, and the only other discount that's on the agenda right now would be a possible senior discount. Because next thing you know, we're gonna discount. So, is there any other discussion? All right, this is a hot topic. I would like to have a roll call vote on this, please, Madam Secretary.
Jasmine Quinones.
Yes.
Gus Steves.
No.
Kevin Swain.
No.
Roland Larishell.
No.
Gil Provost.
No.
Okay, item does not pass. All right. So, let's go to this next one. All right, the next proposal was agenda item 8B. There was a request for a senior discount. The verbiage that was put together, title senior discount. This regulation applies only to the unit that the owner of the property resides in. An owner who wishes to apply for a senior discount must do so in writing to the health department by the 30th of each month, the months of February, May, August, or November, which is the months prior to the billing cycle. Unless that falls on a weekend, then would be required to be on a Friday before to be included in the following billing cycle. When approved, a discount of $30 shall be applied to their account. This regulation senior discount cannot be combined with the temporary vacancy regulation, which doesn't apply at this time because that was voted down. Can I have a motion to entertain this?
Motion.
Second.
Okay. Questions from the board? Comments from the board?
One thing I know, I think doing something like this is probably a good thing. One question I have here is, we don't designate what senior actually means.
That is going to
Where are we
be,
defining that as?
that is,
62, 65, 60?
I think we had discussed 65 because that was the,
Because that would need to be in the text somewhere. And also, I think that although I think that would certainly be helpful for some people, I think a more important regulation change,
let's keep on the agenda, please.
I was going to kind of bring up the issue of, that kind of ties into this.
We're only talking senior discount, Gus.
Well, I
No
was,
other kind of discount because we'll be here till next September. And we have to take this
And the Celtics are.
verbatim
Calm down.
if it's going to go to a regulation.
well, we can make changes now for wording before we send it to public hearing. That's the whole point of this meeting.
If the board wants to.
Exactly. And as far as this language specifically goes, I would think it would make more sense actually to make the discount be a percentage, so that eventually the bills will rise. That's what the contracts will do. So if we make it, instead of being $30, make it like a flat 10%. That way, it will also be indexed to whatever the cost of the contract is.
Here's the problem. You own a two-family.
Mhm.
10% of your bill is going to be 10% of $230.
Yeah, right.
This applies to your
I
occupancy
know.
only.
Exactly.
That's why
That's referred to
it's,
as
the verbiage is $10 that relates, $30 that relates to basically $10 a month reduction.
No, I understand that, but I'm saying you could still do the 10% based on the, it still says only the unit that the owner lives in. So it would only apply to that one part, so there'd be $115 a quarter, so
But
it
the
would be
problem is,
$11.50.
here's the
And if
issue.
that goes to 130, it becomes $13.
See all the talking you just did?
Yeah.
Somebody in this town hall has to figure this out by every bill that comes in for an abatement, for this discount.
A 10%
They own a
is
four-family, they
new,
own a
nothing
three-family, they
else.
own a two-family, they gotta take that bill, they gotta divide it by
No, they
10.
don't. As you said, it's very clear. It's a unit. So it's this one unit, that $115 bill for that one unit. It will be $11.50, period, you're done.
Why do we even have to get in percentage when we say $30?
And all,
They pay quarterly, the bill is quarterly.
yeah, I understand.
So it would be a $10 a month or a $30, as it says here, quarterly reduction in that bill.
So, okay, so you're gonna set this up as, this is $30 a quarter, or is it $30 a year?
The billing is is by quarter.
I know that.
So if we're gonna give a discount, it's by the billing cycle. We don't bill a yearly thing.
I know.
So it would be a discount applied to each bill that goes out in the billing cycle.
Okay.
We have to keep that standard.
Okay. Well, in that case, that's actually a better discount than I was thinking about, so.
Why not? Chicken dinner.
I have a quick question. So if you have somebody that's low income qualifies for this senior discount, but they're going through their landlord and the landlord is not giving them that discount but applying for it,
This has to be a discount that the owner of the property
Oh, so it doesn't
This is
apply
their
to,
own-
okay, it
Because-
doesn't apply to
Because
tenants
the,
or.
right,
yeah,
because
gotcha,
the
gotcha,
tenant
gotcha.
doesn't get billed, the owner does.
Right, but the landlords are raising their rent based on,
Right.
you know, so, okay.
And that's another thing we gotta look at.
The commercial,
Yeah,
the commercial,
because-
our apartments
Yeah.
do not, cannot apply for this.
Anybody else on the board?
Nothing. Pretty much said it all.
Counselor?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, through you. Just wanted to be clear there, this is owner occupied,
Yes.
not just any owner.
This regulation applies only to the unit that the owner of property resides in.
Okay.
That's the first sentence.
All right, thank you. That's all I want to know.
For you and I, it doesn't matter, it's a single family. But for the multifamily, yes, it matters.
Mhm.
And if they live out of town, they don't live here, it does not apply.
So, as it should be.
You only have to apply for 1 quarter, or it's good for the whole year?
If this passes, this is a regulation that, like anything else, if you get approved for this regulation, you're in for the regulation. It's not one of these things that you have to do it
Yeah.
every time or you lose it.
Actually, it does say must do so in writing to the ultimate by the 30th of each quarter.
That's when you originally applied. So it's gonna be on record, no different than the one we did that's scheduled for the public hearing. Once they follow the parameters of a vacant apartment, they're subject to inspection and everything else to maintain that vacant apartment, but they don't have to come back and do this whole process every quarter.
Mhm.
If it stays vacant, it's babysat, it's inspected to make sure it's policed correctly for the rest of the taxpayers. One and done, until you sell it,
Yeah.
because
Oh,
it's
absolutely.
non-transferable.
I agree totally with that.
So, yeah, no, you don't have to do this. If it's awarded, if a discount's awarded to you, it goes on your name, on your property. You sell a property, your name's off it, it doesn't apply anymore. So you don't have to come back every 3 months and do it all over again. You may if you wanna come visit.
Take your
But you don't
trash
have
out
to.
here.
Anything else? I'm just curious, where in the law does it specifically say that it's not transferable?
We make it.
No, I'm saying it shouldn't be, but where does it say that? Because if it does, because we need to make sure it clearly states that it's not transferable.
First line, owner
First line,
occupied.
owner occupied, you move out of it, you're not the owner anymore, this doesn't apply. First line says it.
But what if the person who buys it lives in there too? Then it's
Don't
still
occupy.
occupied.
Then they're gonna have to apply for their own
It's still
guys.
occupied.
If they sell it, if I own a house and I sell it to him, the discount's in my name.
And he lives in it, he can.
But
he
the discount
65?
is in my name.
Yeah.
So if I am not the owner anymore, the discount no longer applies. He has to apply as a new owner.
As you should, I agree with that, you should be. but
That's, we don't have to put it in here because it's
It's pretty clear.
If he
clear.
sells the house, his name's not on the bill anymore.
Done.
Somebody else is getting the bill on that property.
Correct.
You would hope.
All right, no other discussion? Let's have a roll call vote on this one too, please.
Gil Provost,
Yes.
Roland Larishel,
No.
Kevin Spillane,
No.
Gus Steves,
Yes.
Jasmine Canonis,
Yes.
3-2.
Okay.
Does the motion pass?
Yes.
Yep.
Agenda 8C does not apply because 8A was voted down. So we do not have to change the fee schedule. All right, moving on. Do we know, since Dan isn't here, if there's any update on any of the blight? Nothing?
I do not.
Okay,
I have
so that takes care of that one. Number 10, director's not here, so that takes
He
care
said
of that one.
He said he had nothing, he texted me this morning.
Okay. Number 11, solid waste agents announcement. Did I term that correctly for a change?
Yeah,
Okay,
you did,
thank you.
thank you.
I always get it wrong.
appreciate that. So I wanted to announce that we had Beautify Southbridge last Saturday, May 4th. It was a fantastic turnout. The weather was beautiful. I had groups, Girl Scouts. There was the fire department attended, the athletic department, the chess club from the high school, We had individuals, we had partners, we had small groups, children from 3 years old to 10 years old picking up trash. There were about 78 bags total that was picked up by the DPW and Casella, in addition to miscellaneous items such as tires and windows and just window frames, seriously. So it was a great turnout. I had a lot of fun. Yeah, it was good. And I think that's it.
Okay. All right. Number 12, Board of Health announcements. I'll go ladies first. Anything?
Oh,
Thank you.
Says that you scared me.
So, I'm actually on a subcommittee for, we do a lot of community surveys just to see what the needs assessments are in the community. And I was wondering, well, I'll be asking Maritza to be able to post a survey, and that survey is done with Crescenda and other organizations to be able to benefit the health and wellness of our town. So we're going to be launching that as of next week, and I'm happy to bring the findings to the table. So it's in all categories, whether it's education or food, and whatever the town is looking for, and then that we're able to apply for grant funding, based on what the community needs are, and that's for here specifically, but also other catchment areas, just to see where we, are needing more services of opposed to them, and vice versa.
And what's available.
Yeah.
Good.
Can I ask a quick question?
No.
Was that
it's
you?
done. Next.
Hey, you get the start.
Is there any way we can tie this survey into either the housing plan project or the hazard mitigation project that's going on in the town?
We could look at that, but these organizations are, and these, Crescendo and other organizations are paid, very specifically based on granting and funding for like certain things and certain RFPs. And I mean, I'm definitely happy to add that if that's something that we all felt, especially with the board, that it accounts for like health and wellness and all that. We could definitely kind of play around with it, but these assessors and these informants, I guess, or people that tally this they're very, very specific. But we can also make other categories as well too. If we're like, oh, we're seeing this, and we're seeing a lot of windows that we're picking up. We need more money for window picking, and so then we can then be able to come and say, okay, we want to apply for ARPA funds based on whatever, the circumstances are. So, I mean, we can look at it, and we can never hurts to ask, but, it's pretty, cut and dry, so then we can, because just like tonight, we can go on and on and on, and then we just want to be able to,
And I would use caution on that, because of the simple fact of getting overwhelmed.
That's what I'm saying, because like you said.
Sharing is one thing, but if it's focal to health issues, it can be shared. But if we got a ton of issues, sharing it with other organizations that don't apply to health, we got a lot of business to do here.
Oh, I totally get that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that
I'll speak when it's my time.
Yeah, and it's really just to bring in money to,
so.
in the ways that it's need to. That's why sometimes you want to start off small and say, okay, let's focus on that. But we're always, if you want to send a couple of things, I'm always happy to send them over. So, thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? Okay, I'll go here.
I have nothing.
You have nothing. I'll go there.
I don't need anything.
Okay, Mr. Vice Chairman.
Mr. Chair, through you, Fritz, can you give us an update as far as, I don't know, we're 6 weeks into this new trash, solid waste pickup? How's it going? How are residents as far as?
Be nice.
Are we seeing a lot of problems as far as, I mean, do we have to do something to try to help school them a little better?
Well, as we all know, the program is brand new. So
Correct.
there are a lot of bumps in the road that need to be, taken care of slowly. I've met a lot of property owners, very nice property owners, understanding property owners that realize and accept that this is a new program and finally, we need to pay. And then I get the angry ones who don't like change, and there was lack of information out there and just don't want to pay the bill. And I get it. I'm a property owner myself.
Right, yeah.
I'm a town employee, and I feel for everyone. I really do. Unfortunately, my hands were tied when this whole program rolled out because we didn't have the solid waste regulations in place to enforce. So there were a lot of unanswered questions, and I think that's what really
Frustrated
upset.
people.
Yeah, they came in hard and they were upset. Other than that, the team that we have in the department, they are fantastic. They're willing to help out, picking up toters, in the heat, in the rain, and we're sending out letters, violations, and bulk pickup. We are trying to educate the citizens, the property owners, as well as the tenants, as far as what is acceptable, what isn't acceptable, such as the bulk. The bulk is not part of the town program. So either you find a means to donate it, upcycle it, recycle it, burn it in a fire pit. There are other means.
That's illegal.
I didn't say what it was. But
Unless
there
you do it in
are other
Connecticut.
means to, you don't
Bonfire time.
you don't always have to call Casella to dispose of
Oh,
a dresser. There are other means
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah.
There's the Salvation Army, there's the donation boxes, so there's a lot of education to continue informing the residents. I think that's it.
Do you have a number going on his caveat of any guesstimate
Thank you.
on what percentage has opt out?
135.
Yesterday.
So there were 3,900 in bills approximately that were mailed out. And the opt-out, not per unit, because I can't do it per unit, I can do it per property,
Okay.
is less than 300.
Yeah, so we're not anywhere, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, it was 10% of the entire, all of the units.
Right.
So you can't figure that out yet.
No.
Plus, the issue is the bills go by
Quarterly.
tonnage.
Oh. And if
The
we
cost
were at
of,
250
the cost of doing
before-
business, Casella, part of it is by the ton,
Mhm.
because it costs them so much to get rid of it. So this was all mixed in.
Correct.
Right.
Okay.
And the 115 per unit does cover trash, recycling, leaf and yard waste.
Right.
Curbside.
Curbside.
6 weeks in the spring, 6 weeks in the fall. And access to the leaf and yard waste, which, by the way, has been relocated to inside the yard, Monday through Friday, 7 to 3, and available Saturdays from 12 to 4, with someone actually manning it on Saturdays. So we can,
And again,
we have
town
that.
resident, no
Yep.
commercial vehicles.
Correct,
Thank you.
correct.
Good enough.
One more if I may.
Go ahead. Don't look at me like that.
Mr. Chair, before yourself and Mr. Provost got on the board, we used to have these walk around to some blighted properties.
Yes, we should do that.
Can we start that back up again? We haven't had one in over 3 months, and I'd like to get updates. The last one we did, I had a family emergency, couldn't make it, but we looked at 3 properties, and we have not heard any updates on these properties. I know tonight we're gonna discuss Mill Street, Brick Road, and again, a building. Brick Road's been on here for
just-
7 years.
Just to name a few, but it was for all blighted properties.
Oh, yeah.
Because I had questions other than
Those
what's here.
properties.
And I do know that the town is in workings with some of these properties,
Yeah.
but I was not, I've heard it, but I was not formally informed. So that's why I would like the director saying
Yeah.
that is in process.
Right.
That's what we want to know.
Because that was my thing, like I said, there is 3 here, one of them's been on there 7 years, but the last walkthrough, I mean, we looked at 3 other buildings. We haven't heard anything other than that initial walk that we did.
Right.
And I just wondering if we, I guess it would
That's
come
something
through the
that-
director, if we can kind of keep up to date, and if we can start doing those walkarounds again. He's got a pretty decent sized list on
I haven't
the
seen all this
properties.
yet, so that's something I'm interested in. But I can,
I gave him a list
Oh.
when I first came on,
Okay.
and he said he already had a list as well.
okay.
There's a few dozen properties.
Well, these are things to bring up, I'll bring up with him for future agendas.
Thank you.
And I like what you said, though, that we're starting, you know, with things that are, we're going slow and steady. Here, and we had a lot of work to do.
Okay, nobody else? Now it's my turn. Okay. First of all, I want to say how proud I am of these 2 ladies. Because this town's been spoiled when it came to trash. We've always had it for free. I have witnessed some very nice people coming in, being thankful on the tact, and that's why I'm saying it for the camera and the record, how thankful they were for the tact that's being used, even though they were cited because their tenants made a mess. These trash monitors are enforcing regulations that have not been enforced, even since the last time I was on the board. So what they're going out writing people up is really nothing new.
Yeah.
It's just getting done. And I will tell you, you know, I've seen the good, bad, the ugly, and the way they handle themselves, they should get the Oscar, the Emmy, and the Tony Award, okay? Because they're very, very good. That being said, while going around town, it seems that I've seen this town seems to be a heck of a lot cleaner than it's ever been. The normal dump sites don't seem to be as active. I don't know if people are scared because it's just been a free-for-all. Okay? This board has rightly so been all consumed with trash. And we've got to get away from that. We know that it is now a hotspot with the people. But this is the Board of Health, and we have to be careful on what's going on. I read a thing that be careful, people, when you go walk out in the woods, because not having a hard frost and a hard cold winter, the ticks are out there and they're nastier than ever. So what happens with the ticks? All these diseases that come along with it. Okay, that's a health issue. And we had an overridden with ticks last year at Henry Street, where we sprayed. Last year at EV4, I think I was back on the board. But there's actions that this board would have to take. So it's an all-inclusive thing, and I don't want the board to forget that and get overwhelmed. The landfill's dead, it's just gotta be maintained. That's an easy fix, okay? We know we have the interests of the people. That being said, I wanted to let you know, and I don't know if I talk to the manager or whatever, but I did get a complaint, which with the new trash regulations creates a different issue. And I got not a complaint, but information from a business owner in town that witnesses every Saturday morning, around 9 o'clock, a black SUV backs up to the dumpster at the registry dumpster, opens the rear tailgate, the hatch, and pulls out 3, 4, 5 bags and dumps it in the dumpster. That dumpster is, unfortunately, the way they park, couldn't see the license plate. The cost of getting rid of that trash falls on all of us, and that is classified as illegal dumping. So, I don't know if the registry has buildings. They've also been illegal dumping in some private dumpsters, and these people are taking care of their own. So I plan on speaking to the town manager, or I'll speak to Dan when he comes in, for these town buildings, whether we have to lock the dumpsters, whether we get some kind of surveillance and catch these people, but when you catch one and you advertise it, it's gonna flow like a wildfire, and then people are gonna be put on notice. But this is all related to the tonnage that the town citizens are getting billed. And it's down, it's just, and I don't care if it's an employee of the registry. You're not putting registry trash in your SUV. That's wrong. So, we're gonna expand some of our topics. Hopefully we don't have to. I got a guy waving to me in the back.
Any questions?
Certainly.
Is there a date scheduled for the public hearing for all things trash?
22nd.
No,
Nope,
can't be.
right now, because we adopted the senior
Okay.
discount, we need a 2-week out. You adopted it as is, so we're going to have to make a new,
Date.
a new date for the public hearing. I think the original one was what, the
22nd.
22nd. So we're gonna have to make the date
Sometime in June?
May 26th.
2 weeks out because it's gotta have 2 weeks of advertising. So we either have to go, the earliest would be the last week of the month. The way I read it.
When
But
is
we will-
Memorial Day?
27.
27.
Okay.
We will see the availability of the chambers and work on the date and then get it posted and let you know. Let
So right now,
everybody-
you're looking at either the 30th or the 6th.
And you know what?
That's
If we
fine,
can-
right there.
Which one?
It's also Mr. Daniels.
The 30th?
No,
The
the
6th.
6th.
The 6th.
6th of June.
And mine's the 1st. We'll get together.
Jedi.
We got that.
Can we do it for the 30th?
God help us. Let's see if we can shoot for the 30th, get it done, over with, on the books, move on. I don't like things hanging around.
Is Daniel in the office
Can't do
that,
the 30th.
As long,
or is he taking a vacation? Oh, no, I'll be
as
on
long as we
vacation.
have the quorum, we can, wait a minute.
It's my nephew graduation, he goes to school, so it's paid path graduation.
Oh, that's the graduation week?
30th?
Yeah.
That's that night.
Or is it?
Evans
Graduation.
special
Yeah, have a
select that
seat
night
here.
and plus graduation.
All right, so we're
Who's
going
on time?
June 6th?
Thank you.
Let's go for June 6th, if, let's take it, let's stay away from the, Gesundheit,
Bless you.
Thank you.
get that fixed. Let's stay away from that graduation week.
Okay,
Go
so
to
June
6th.
6th.
Let's shoot for June 6th.
6 o'clock?
Yeah, we were doing it on a Thursday night, 6, right,
Yep.
6 PM, so that we,
Upstairs.
upstairs in the council chambers, so that we make it available for the working people too, not just us semi-retired.
Thank you, Chairman.
And then we're gonna have our regular scheduled on the 13th.
That's what, if we good now, let's set the next meeting date, agenda 14.
June 13th.
June 13th, keep it standard, second Thursday of each month. As we, that's our regular scheduled meeting, if anything comes up, we will call a special meeting as needed.
Motion on June.
Second.
All those in favor?
Hey,
Meeting adjourned,
hey.
What time you got?
7:37.